This is the Refinery featuring Free Radical Network, the party of choice, and the Conservative Union here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, December 30th, 2014, and time for the last Refinery show of the year. This is the place where grassroots organizations come together to explore the best ways to make conservative messaging work so that we can grow and influence more people. We have this show every Tuesday at 8:30 Central. That's 9:30 JD's time over there on the East Coast. And 7:30 in Mountain Time, which is where Cori and Andy and Ryan are. And that would be 6:30 on the West Coast, where other people are.
Delbert's over there. He sometimes joins us.
Delbert's over there. He's just not with us today. He's in Oregon, one of the states that has a very low incidence of flu disease. So yay, Oregon. I saw that on a map today. I found it interesting. At any rate, you can watch our show at therefineryshow.com. From there, you can also find links to watch it later via podcast at Vigilant Liberty US or Stitcher or iTunes or several other places. There are links on the website, therefineryshow.com. At any rate, this last episode of the year, we wanted to make our resolutions for the new year. Nobody does that ever in the week between Christmas and New Year. I know it's like a radical thing to talk resolutions, right? You weren't expecting this. Oh, no, wait, this is so predictable. We're not going to give a top 10 list, a top 50 list, or any of that stuff, though. Not going to do it.
No best of.
No best of. We're just going to give our resolutions for the new year because 2015 can be a pretty exciting, wondrous, and fabulous new year for the conservative movement. I mean, we've accomplished so much this year, particularly electorally at all the state levels and at the federal level. There's so much that can be positive, that we can begin to turn around and change the momentum of the nation in a positive direction if we can be good winners. And that means being winners, recognizing that we are winners, and we do have not a mandate, but we do have something that could be a mandate. We'll get to that because Andy wrote an excellent article about that. We'll talk about that later. I think the overarching thing for me in terms of resolution or reminder, motto, is be nice. And I always remember the scene in Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze telling his group of coolers that their job is not to fight back with the patrons. Their job is to be nice. And if somebody yells at them and says something stupid, be nice. If they call you a bad name, be nice. And that's what we need to do a lot more of. The Conservative Party, the Republican Party, conservatives in general, are not thought of as nice people. And if you look out on social media, the way we express ourselves, we don't express ourselves as very nice people. We disparage others. We complain a lot. We bitch, moan, and whine. We're not super nice, and we tend to be, not nice. And that doesn't make us the kind of group of people that anybody else wants to join.
Yeah, Andy.
Yeah, Andy. No, it's JD that's not a nice person. You're so mean. Look at that. I mean, look at that face. That's just a mean, cuddly face that you just want to pinch and squeeze. Yeah, JD is he's super nice. I don't know how he considers himself a conservative person because he's like,
even shutting off
anti-conservative.
Even shutting off my picture doesn't help because it's still my picture.
You still just look like a nice person, and he is. So we need to be more like JD.
Is he like Kung Fu Panda, cute and cuddly, plush and smuggly?
No.
I think in front of that green wall, you come off that way. You really do.
I appreciate that, Andy. Thank you very much.
I don't want to. But
On the be nice thing, I don't know if people think that being nice means you're weak and a loser, or what it is. I get pushback when I get irritated with people, or when I try to stop the complaints. It's like, well, you just don't understand how bad things are, or you just don't understand how serious it is. Well, yeah, I do understand how serious it is, and I want people to join my side. And in order to get them to join my side, we need to be the nice people that they want to hang out with. We need to be more alluring.
If I could redefine I totally agree with that, by the way. If I could redefine...
That's because you're a smart person.
Exactly. And as you know, I fear all women. Okay.
Because you're a smart person.
Exactly. Let me redefine it just a touch. Rather than being nice, I want to show value. And what I mean is, the left only values people insofar as those people make choices that the left wants them to make. If we on the right really value liberty and choice and freedom, then we should value it in a person even if they choose against what we want, even if they make choices we don't like. I always tell people, I don't want my lifestyle to be your laws. Okay? And what I see too often in the right is we become too liberal. We let liberalism seep into the right because we start to lash out at people when we see them not choosing the way we want them to choose. Now, part of that can be frustration because they're purposefully being uninformed, and they're shoving information away and just listening to Comedy Central or whatever. I get that. I get the frustration there. But do you value them does your value for somebody hinge on how much they agree with you? In that case, you don't value them at all. You only value agreement with you. And if you only value agreement with you, then the only one you value is you. We on the right need to start valuing these wonderful miracles we call people. Because in the left, they don't. They never will. They see people as something to be controlled, chess pieces on their board of life. The second we start showing people value and showing them, look, I want to share information with you, not run you over, not hate you the moment you disagree with me. The second we do that and show them value, we have an enormous leg up on the left because they'll never do that.
I think that's a really good point. And if we can remember to value the other person, that sort of automatically makes you be nice. Because when you value the assets that the other person has, even if you disagree with them, you're going to be nice to them and try to persuade them to agree with you on those things that you disagree on, or to at least work with you on other things. Because I find it more difficult to be mean to someone that I see as a fellow person that adds value. So I think you're right. Remembering that everybody has value that they can contribute, and something that is beautiful and magical and wonderful about them makes me automatically be nice.
Well, and I think too that we need to distinguish between fighting hard and being milquetoast about things, or dialing back, because there might be a more positive way or a more engaging way to say something, does not mean that one is not still firing with both barrels. That
Exactly.
You can be a person who's using logic, reason, and also tactics to appeal to a person's and capture their attention, appeal to their sense of justice or their sense of fairness or their sense of rights and morality, whatever you want to appeal to. You can do those things without beating someone over the head in that sort of engagement. That does not necessarily mean that you're not fighting. It's a different way of saying something. It's a different way of getting to the same goal. And at the same time, it doesn't mean that, calling names is completely off the table. It's just, so many of us start there. And I would prefer people to take a step back, and if they think someone doesn't look like they're fighting hard because they're not using that tough and pugilistic language, that it might be because they're taking a different approach, not because they're backing off of a strong position.
Oh, I think that's a great point because, look, what I'm trying to clarify here, and by the way, I'm all for name calling. I'm a Christian. Jesus said, "You brood of vipers, you whitewashed tombs." Okay, look, name calling is simply a way to boil something down into a label to simplify. It's not evil in and of itself, but it can be lazy and weak. It can demonstrate weakness. It depends on how you use it. But here's the thing. I want them to understand the sin is not disagreeing with me. The sin is being corrupt. The sin is lying. The sin is using all these nasty blogging tactics that JD is so good at diagnosing and calling out. Well, seriously. When people use that stuff, do call it out, undercut them, expose them, embarrass them, and be tough. Let out that inner Ted Cruz, okay? Let it out, because that's great. I'm not saying to pussyfoot around. Well, once again, I got to go back to Jesus. Who was tougher and more in your face and combative and confrontive than Jesus Christ? So obviously, I can't have a problem with that. No, all I want to do is convey to people, I don't value you based on how much you agree with me, but I will definitely attack you when you use corrupt, dishonest tactics that stop the honest interaction of ideas rather than promote it.
And another thing to point out there is that when you're channeling your inner Ted Cruz doesn't make did not make his money by being a bad lawyer. He's quite talented at that, so he knows where the lines are, and he knows what is acceptable and what's not, and where to push it and where not to. So when you are going into attack mode, being sure to go just far enough and not go over that line by, say, like calling Michelle Obama transsexual or doing that sort of stuff. Yeah, you're just hurting your own case. It makes no one, it doesn't aid your case in any way, shape, or form. You can be brutal about the policy. You can be brutal about the stuff that these people have done, but when you get into the schoolyard kind of calling names thing, that's when you're not making your point effectively, and that's when you're starting to, quite frankly, embarrass everyone on your side. And that's not good. It's not good to make those kind of claims.
See, I agree with JD. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not that good with words, and so I try to stay as far away from the line as I can because I don't know when I'm going to cross it. So I try to focus on attacking the policy, attacking the ideas, and try not to call the person names or attack the person at all. If I'm talking to someone, I might go as far as saying, clearly you've not read up on the topic. Here's a bunch of articles for you to read into because you're lacking a basic knowledge of the subject. I'm pointing out a fact. It might not be nice, but I'm not calling them names. I'm not really attacking them. I'm giving them opportunity to read and things like that. If you're going to attack someone, attack the people in charge of the policy. Like you could attack Obama for being a communist, maybe. Don't just throw it out there because it's not going to work. But if you're talking about socialist healthcare and how that has worked in all these other, or how has not worked in all these other communist and socialist countries, and you say, in this case, he's a socialist, this is what socialist Germany did, this is what European socialist England did. In that context, sure, go ahead and call him a communist. It's true. But you're pointing out why, you're pointing out how, not just throwing out random names. You're not calling him a Kenyan or all those things that have no basis in fact to just make you look like an idiot.
Well, and along with that too, Ryan, I think that it's a great idea to attack their sources sometimes too. For instance, you guys all know I love to debate on fracking. And so many times people will Google, like they'll be debating and they'll Google something and they'll just pick little pieces out of articles from the Huffington Post or something like that, and then they'll paste that in and put their whole argument around it. And I've caught people doing